Hello, welcome to lecture in online science class, discussing physics, the concept of vector. So vectors are physical quantities that has both magnitude and direction. Because in physics we measure physical quantities. Some of these quantities has both magnitude and direction. Some has only magnitude. So example of vectors: velocity, acceleration, force, weight, work done. So these are vectors. So two or more vectors can act together. Therefore, when two or more vectors act together, they must have a resultant. What is this resultant? Resultant is that single vector. Resultant is that single vector that will produce the same effect as those other two or more vectors combined together, both magnitude and direction. And resultant is represented by the symbol R. That is resultant. That is resultant. So when vectors act, for example, in opposite direction, this is the symbol of vector. In opposite direction, as if when you are dragging somebody, you are dragging this direction, the other person is dragging the opposite direction. There must be resultant. If I'm dragging with a force of 10 Newton and in the opposite direction dragging the force of 7 Newton. So therefore the resultant will go in the direction of the 10 Newton. So the resultant here is 10 minus 7, which is 3 Newton. And it will go to the direction of the 10 Newton. And that is vector force. That is the resultant we are talking about now. That is the resultant we are talking about. So now, when two vectors act in the same direction, maybe 10 Newton, 7 Newton act in the same direction, the resultant here is equal to 10 plus 7, which will give us 17. Because these two vectors is like force hitting a body, two forces, 10 Newton and 7 Newton. So hitting a body. So the body will receive an impact of 10 Newton and 7 Newton. So the addition of these vectors gives the resultant vector. That resultant vector is 17 Newton. So we have this exercise here that will help us understand vectors the more. So these are vectors acting in different directions. 12 Newton is acting this direction, 10 Newton acting this direction, 15 Newton acting downwards here, and the 9 Newton acting downwards here. So now we shall obtain the resultant here, the resultant vector. You can see these vectors makes an angle to the horizontal. So it's like when you are carrying something this way, you are not straight and you are not horizontal. So now there must be a force that tries to pull you down, and there must be a force that tries to stretch you up. So there are two components acting now. Both vertical component that tries to stretch you up and horizontal component that tries to pull you down. That is what we mean by vertical component and horizontal component. When vector is inclined at an angle, like we have here now. So we shall resolve these vectors vertically and horizontally. Vectors, horizontal component, vertical component. So we have 10 Newton. Let us resolve 10 Newton horizontal component and vertical component. This is the vertical component of 10 Newton. This is the horizontal component. So therefore, we are using, for the horizontal component, we are using cos theta. So horizontal component will give us 10 cos 30, and the angle we are using is the angle which the vector makes to the horizontal, not the one it makes to the vertical. The one it makes to the vertical here is 60, but the one we are choosing, the one its vector makes to the horizontal. So 10 cos 30, and the vertical component will give us 10 sin 30. So 10 cos 30 will give us what?
8.660.
So 8 8.660. Then this one will give us what?
5.
5. Equal to 5. So